is that you cannot, and please stop comparing your hair texture to someone else's. You got to love what you got. Use what you got to get what you need. Oh, so this is not a question as much as it is an answer to many questions that I get. And there's a lot of different types of questions where it's hard to identify what the problem is to the person because I don't have their texture in front of me. And I know nothing about anything other than the question that they ask, which is just too generalized to answer. But what I will say is that a lot of these questions also stem from comparing your texture to someone else's. You can't do that. That's why I think it's important to, or the work that I do is helping women to rediscover their natural texture. And why that is important is because unless you've been like simply properly introduced to something and or, many textures within the texture spectrum did not come with a care tag and was under the trial and error type of regimen, and hairdressers, gatekeepers, hairdressers themselves didn't know what to do it or refused to do it or told you negative things about your hair texture simply because of the limitations that they had. If you can get past that and you find your way here, what is really important to know is that you cannot, and please stop comparing your hair texture to someone else's. What your hair inherently does, your genetics and all that, it's yours. Your body and what your body does and how your body reacts and responds is unique to you and doesn't do, even though sometimes it might even appear that someone has a similar texture than yours. It's hard to focus on your texture and what you need your texture to do and what's good and bad for your texture if you are looking at that texture. What I help you to do again is to identify what your hair texture is, what you've been exposed to, at what age you got exposed to your hair texture and or practices or things that were told to you about your hair texture, so we can kind of build a case about and really take the burden off of you that it was any of your fault. It's not your fault as much as it is an industry that may have deemed your texture problematic, unprofessional, unruly, unkind, not pretty, simply because people don't understand other people's differences. And so I think it's really important to celebrate our unique differences, because hair texture and how you wear your hair is really about personal style, I've discovered. And your style is how you roll through life fly, right? That you love and own and have agency over your hair texture. That there's nothing more empowering than that, because then you start to understand all the things that your hair can do, and understanding what hair care is, dispelling a lot of myths and mockery surrounding things that were told you about your hair texture, getting in the shower with your hair or getting in the ocean or going on vacation. There's so many things that you've been led to believe. And so I'm really about dispelling all those myths and really helping women to have agency over their hair. And so you can't do that if you're looking at someone else's texture going down the rabbit hole. You got to love what you got. Use what you got to get what you need. And if that's feeling and looking beautiful, then let me show you how to do that. All right, hope that helps.